Alright, this is a full breakdown video of my Traxxas / Ultimate Edition. Everybody kind of claims that they have the Ultimate, and I am making that claim myself in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this car I've been kind of tinkering with over the last 4 years. Try to do some tasteful modifications to it. And we're going to go ahead and start this video right now. So, some of you might be coming from the video that I just went ahead and swapped these in. These are off the Desert Runner, and they fit on the second series of these forks, shocks here. These are the Ultimate, these are the GTR shocks that come on the Ultimate, and they or the second version. They have a different thread pitch than the first version, as what I hear. The way that you can tell is there's a little bolt down here on the retainer at the bottom. So if you have those, you can put these Fox metal caps on here. So the next thing we have here on this car, you're going to see that I have Traxxas aluminum toe arms here, and I also have this is a Halk Racing servo arm here, and it's all aluminum. It matches this perfectly. It's the only blue that I've been able to find to match that. Took me a while to find that. What else do we have on this? This is off of a Rally. I like it on my street car over here. Let me go ahead and come over here and unplug this battery here. What this is this is a light setup that you can find on Amazon, and I'm running it off of a Venom 300 mAh Fly 2S battery, and it just links right in there. And this is on my body, and I have lights at night, and it's on my body, and I don't have to plug it into my car and have a rat's nest right here. So I just went ahead and unplug that. This is just Velcroed here. As we're moving along, you'll see this tube running through here, and that is for my air scoop. Because as some of you may know, these VXLs can get a little warm when you start pushing them to their limit. So what I do is I tuck this sucker right here, right under the motor there, and it tends to drop me anywhere from 10 to 15 extra degrees. And I know that because I can read it on my TQI, where it sends my motor temperatures to the phone, and I'll pull this out, run it for a little bit, and then I'll stick it back in there. And as long as I'm ripping up and down the road 60 miles an hour, it's dropping 15 degrees just about every time. While we're talking about cooling here, you're going to see this big old fan right here. And this is a Yeah Racing fan. It goes for about 18 bucks, and with the mount, if you can find one. I bought a bunch of them up because who knows if we're going to be able to get stuff from China for much longer. So got a lot of those ready. They're great for a street car, but if you're playing where there's rocks, this fan will break pretty easy when a big old rock gets in there and hits it. Haven't had too much problem with breaking this one, having rocks getting in there and breaking the fins, but I have broken a few of these when I go play in the rocks. So this is more of a street car setup fan, but man, does it keep it cool. This thing I've seen drop temperatures 25 degrees, and I know that because when it's broken, my car starts to get hot, and because I keep an eye on my temperatures. So for cooling, I've got this guy here coming in under here, and then we got this fan here, but I've done something a little bit different here. I don't run this straight into this. I take another one of these guys here, and I've got Velcro here, plug that in there, plug this in here, and now I've got 8.4 volts running to this instead of 5 volts that comes out of here, and that will spin this thing out to what I believe is about 18,000 RPMs, and it, that in itself, doing that little modification got me down another 10 degrees. Put this on here. These hold up very well. Haven't had too many issues with those breaking. As we move forward away from cooling, one thing that I would like to mention that might have something to do with cooling, I did go ahead and get some ceramic bearings for my Traxxas VXL motor. This is the company I used. I will see if I can find the size I bought those a couple months back. If I can find the size, I'll post it down in the description. But Speed Secrets, they sell ceramic bearings. I put those in. I think my motor bearings were about 6 months old. One of them felt a little crunchy, and I was hitting temperatures of about 170 with this setup. And as soon as I put those bearings in there, it dropped down into the 140s. So that's where I want to keep this thing, between 140 and 160. I try to keep it in that range. That's why I have a lot of cooling. A lot of people know about gearing with these cars. I do want to talk about some drivetrain things that I've done to kind of tune this. One thing is when it's cooler, 60 to 70 degrees out, with the VXL on this light little car I got here, because I do have it built up very light compared to most people's cars, with the aluminum here, and I run the Tekno M6 axles, which are a lot lighter than the MIP stuff, and I think that's why I don't have the overheating issue some people have. But anyway, let's talk about drivetrain and gearing. I'm running a 1654 right now. I like keeping the 54 on there because it keeps the motor this way, away from my drive shaft, and it keeps some space in there so I don't get rocks and scratch my drive shaft all up. So I like keeping this thing nice and pretty. So I'm running a 1654, ripping my SMC Extreme Graphene V2 battery up and down the road. Let me go over here and grab that real quick. When I'm using this, no, this is the 2S. When I'm using this battery here, this is the battery. This is my favorite battery. 60 bucks for one of these. It's 3S hard pack. It's by a company that makes race packs, and it's got 120C. That goes in there like that. It's light for its size. It's very light and it's small and compact. I really love this battery. The punch on it at 120C is just like no other. So that goes in there with that nice pink color, going with the yellow that we got here. So I'm running that, and that, you know, I brought up the battery because that can have to do with cooling issues too. If the ESC is asking for a lot of power and so is the motor, and the battery can't deliver, things like to get hot. So, you know, all these things kind of work together to keep your car cool and to keep it ultimate. So what I went and did is, not only did I put a 16 by 54 gear in here, but I actually use my slipper clutch. So a lot of people just lock their slipper clutch out and they just want to do wheelies and everything like that, but wheelies create heat, and I'm trying to be fast and trying to stay cool. So what I do is I actually adjust my slipper clutch on this car, and the way I do it is I tighten it all the way down and I start backing it off as I'm, you know, with the body on, because you want to get the right weight down, and I just start backing it off a little bit, tiny bit at a time. Go take a few rips, see if it wheelies or if it's sliding out, whatever, you know, whatever kind of tires you got on it. It's good to have some soft tires on it to see if it's going to wheelie. And then what I do is I just keep loosening up the clutch until when I hit the throttle, it just does a tiny little lift. Because I do like a little tiny wheelie, but just that little bit of clutch slippage in the beginning when you're getting on the throttle transfer some of that heat over to that clutch, and as the clutch gets hot, it actually starts to grip, so you get to use your slipper clutch, and that tends to keep the VXL pretty cold. We talked about my axles. I think that's one of the big things on this car that lets me run it really hard and keeps it nice and cold. In the back, you can see it looks like I got the blue there, but essentially what I did was I took some hobby paint and painted the Tekno bearing carrier here, because they don't make an aluminum one for this, and that's what keeps a lot of people from putting Teknos on the Ultimate, because they want to keep their aluminum steering blocks. But I just went ahead and made them look aluminum, and you probably wouldn't have known if I didn't say anything. Now for the front, that's where it matters. That's where you want to keep these nice aluminum Traxxas steering blocks. And the way about it is you go ahead and you order the XO1, trying to work in here, the X01 bearing holder. So this part right here that connects to this arm that fits inside this steering block here, just the part that holds the bearings, you order the X01 version and it opens up the inside of that bearing there, and then all the Tekno stuff fits in there, and that's the secret to being able to run Tekno M6 axles on your Ultimate, which I know you want to do because they're nice and light, and I'm sure you've heard they can hold up to 6S. I'm running on 3S. I've had these on here a couple years now. No issues. I did slam into a curb one time at about 50 miles an hour, and I bent one of these, and I took it off and I put it in the vise and I hit it back straight, and it's back on there and it's still going. So you can see that they're very strong, and I don't know why you would go MIP and put all that weight on there if these are just as strong and super clean looking like this. I'm a minimalist. I like to keep things nice and clean. So the only thing I don't think I mentioned was this Tekno T100 here. That's a good upgraded servo for 50 bucks away from the Traxxas stuff. It's very strong. It pushes 211 ounces. You get a year warranty through A-Main Hobbies because they make Protek. And it's a little on the slow side in my opinion. It's pushing 0.14 when from what I've seen, a pretty fast servos, anything around 10 or under. So that might be the next upgrade. It's fine for bashing. This is considered a bashing servo here. It's fine for me ripping up and down the road with my speed runs. It's faster than my Traxxas one by just a little bit. Not really where you'll notice it much, but I didn't notice a huge difference in speed, but it is very smooth. So those are about 60 bucks. Personally, I think the T130 would have been a better choice for a little bit more money, just because I would have liked a little bit more speed out of it and it still retains the torque. The T160 to me seems to be the best bang for buck because you get like 0.9 seconds it moves at, and it's, I don't remember the other spec on the torque, but it's over 200, and it's like $109, but I'm putting that on my other car that I'm building, and I'm going to try that out and see how that works, and if I really like it, I'm going to go ahead and toss one in here. But other than that, those are some of the things making this an ultimate, the ultimate. Next thing I want to talk about is inside there I have an X01 diff. I just put one in the rear. I'm not seeing a lot of force going on my front wheels, and when I do take it apart to rebuild things, I'm not seeing too many issues with the stock diff up front, but I did want to put one in the rear just for extra strength. Next we have these wheels, and you're going to see some 17 mil adapters. Now these are the Traxxas ones, and when you go and you try to mate them to the M6 axles, you do have to drill them out just a little bit on the inside. It's not too hard if you have a drill bit and a vise, and you just go ahead and take care of that, and then you can use these Traxxas ones. You can see I'm trying to retain as many nice Traxxas parts as possible and keep this an ultimate and not turn it into some other type of car. So I try to use Traxxas when I can if it's a nice part, unless there's just something way better out. Now, like tires for instance, these are GRP, they're S5 compound, and they seem to be perfect. Back when I used to do autocross racing, your tires would get a little bit worn like this from heat, and that's how you knew you were getting them heated up just enough, and they look just right and they feel just right after you rip them around out there. So those are S5 compound GRP. I don't really remember. Okay, this is a RPM bumper I just installed on here, and it stuck out to about here when I put it on there, and I didn't like that, so I cut it, re-drilled the holes, and cleaned it up a little bit, and now it sits right to the front of my buggy body that I put on here, and I'm really glad I did that. I had something that I made and it wasn't that nice. And again, this is off of a Rally here. Oh, I've got the RPM A-arms here. Those have been great. I haven't broke one since I've put them on. Is there any more modifications that I've done to this car? Let me think. Oh, we got the Proline body mounts up here. I do like these a lot better than the stock on this car. I think that's it. I think that's going to be pretty much what's different about this car than just buying it off the, buying it right out of the box. We've got a couple little different modifications here. Yeah, that seems to be it. That's what I consider to be my ultimate Traxxas slash Fox Edition 4x4 Ultimate. This is my street killer here. Got my lights off because I don't want to just eat that battery. That battery is cool. It's a 2S battery and it's 300 mAh. And by the time I run this battery all the way out, I'm still at about 7.5 volts. Excuse me. And that's plenty. That's just under storage voltage. So this is the perfect size for a full run with that. And you get 2 of these in a pack, I think for like 18 bucks. So you can use them for lighting. You can use them for these fans, because most of these fans can hold up to, if you read, if you get one that can hold up to 8 volts, then you can put this on, because this here says 7.4, but it actually charges out to about 8.3, and it just really gets this thing sped up. So over here I do got a few modifications, mainly because I snapped this body and I made this for it on my brake I have over here where I can bend metal, and I just kind of bent that out and made a plate here, and that just when you go ahead and destroy your body like I did, it's very helpful. I should have went, oh, this still has the OBA set up on it. I never took it off. I haven't really been using this much. I'm about to start going to the track with this. I've got some wheels and tires built up to go on this that are white. I showed them in the last video when I was talking about these shocks and putting them on, but gonna start going to the track, and my main plan is to get some clay, because I live out in Florida and all we have is sand. I want to get some clay for the backyard and build myself a track back there that I can practice on, and then I'll probably get into like a Tekno buggy, but I do want to get into doing some racing, and this is a good entry-level deal for me to get in there, and I'll probably get whooped out there, but it'll be good fun. So, but yeah, that's Outer Zone RC's ultimate. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I will try to get back to you and help a brother out.